Thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation on Prowess Higher Education. If you are the head of a higher education institution in Cameroon, Nigeria, and the rest of Africa, then you are about to become part of a wind of change that will radically transform higher education in Africa and radically transform your institution in the process. My name is Godfrey G. Eso, and I am the founder of this new initiative. As a background to our project, I would like us to take as case study the situation of Cameroon. According to data from the Cameroon GCE board and the Cameroon Baccalaureate board, close to 200,000 students graduate from high school each year in Cameroon, but the nation's higher education infrastructure has space for less than 40% of these students. For over 4 years now, schools have been on lockdown in the Anglophone regions of Cameroon as a result of the ongoing conflict. This situation took a national and international dimension when the COVID-19 pandemic broke out in 2020. Since the university reforms of the year 2000, the country now has 8 state universities and about 201 approved higher education institutions. But the problems plaguing these institutions are enormous. Some include shortage of qualified staff, inadequate infrastructure, lack of libraries, laboratories, and digital infrastructure. We have a unique solution. Prowess is a higher education cloud platform developed by Guzang Technologies in collaboration with Coursera. We are partnering with you, the higher education institutions in Cameroon and Africa, to develop, host, and manage the blended learning versions of some of the programs that you are currently running on campus. Our platform allows students to complete their courses from a selection of more than 7,000 courses taught online by 241 different universities and companies. By taking the theoretical component of their courses online, they now have the maximum time to spend developing real-world skills that are needed at the job site. Upon completing the curriculum prescribed by their host institution, these students then sit for a final exam that qualifies them for the higher national diploma or bachelor's degree, for example. This project has a starving market, as you can see. More than 60% of those who need higher education in Africa do not have access to it because more than half the population of Africa lives in rural settings where there are no higher education institutions. Going to the university usually always means relocating to the city with huge financial and social implications. The hundreds of thousands of students who have acquired higher professional diplomas over the last 20 years in Cameroon, for example, need bachelor's degree conversions so that they can progress in their careers or gain graduate admissions. Currently, the only means of doing so is to return to the classroom. Paradoxically, this will mean abandoning the jobs that serve as their means of livelihood. According to the National Employment Fund, more than 80% of Cameroonian graduates are not employable because they lack the skills that the job market needs. Graduates therefore form a huge market for reprofessionalization, and we can do this through accelerated HND programs. How timely is our intervention? Before partnering with Coursera in late 2020, we had been designing and testing our unique blended learning strategy since 2016. The Cameroon Anglophone crisis and the COVID-19 pandemic have worked in synergy to catalyze a massive adoption of digital learning as a lifestyle in Cameroon and in Africa. Unfortunately, most institutions are still using rudimentary approaches to online learning, such as WhatsApp and Zoom classes. Digital solutions to learning are now both necessary and fashionable, And so there has never been a better time to launch a solution like Prowess. Taking a snapshot at Nigeria next door, we find 43 federal universities, 48 state universities, 79 private universities, over 100 approved polytechnics. The last 10 years have seen a growing trend of Nigerian students coming to Cameroon to obtain higher national diplomas and degrees. And the reasons for this are usually that the academic year in Cameroon is usually more stable and predictable. And also, fees in Cameroon are lower. This trend has engendered a framework in which Nigerian students can now more easily acquire the Cameroonian equivalents of their Nigerian high school certificates, thereby enabling them to progress to Cameroonian HND and Cameroonian degrees in both private and state institutions. Unlike Cameroonian higher education institutions, however, private universities in Nigeria are accredited and supervised by the National University Council to directly issue their degrees and diplomas. It's the same thing with the polytechnics and their own regulatory body. So there's a two-way advantage that Prowess presents. Cameroonian institutions will now be able to recruit and train more Nigerian students even while they are living in Nigeria. Conversely, Nigerian students wishing to study in Cameroon will now have the opportunity to apply online, study online, and only come to Cameroon for exams. So it's a win-win. Also, if Nigerian institutions adopt Prowess, they will also have the platform on which they can teach more students online than they can teach on campus. And these students come to campus only for exams. What then is really Prowess? As I mentioned earlier, Prowess is a higher education cloud platform developed by Guzang Technologies, a US-based company, in collaboration with Coursera, which is also a US-based company. The first higher education partner that we secured in order to develop this framework was Jomat Polytechnic Batibo in Cameroon. So far, we have concluded partnership talks with 4 other institutions in Bamenda, Douala, and Yaoundé, and we will be formalizing these agreements by the end of July 2021. Our target is to have 20 academic partners in Cameroon and Nigeria by the start of 2021-2022 academic year this October. Of course, this offer extends to all Anglo-Saxon African countries. What then do we offer? Our hosting platform, Coursera, currently hosts 241 teaching partners, including the top universities in the world like Stanford, Yale, Edinburgh, Cape Town, Alberta, and so on, and companies like Amazon, Google, and IBM. These teaching partners represent 53 countries on all continents, and so far, they are teaching and certifying 7,430 courses in the following disciplines: the art and humanities, business, computer science, data science, information technology, health science, math and logic, personal development, physical science and engineering, social science, and languages. So far, more than 70 million students have taken courses on Coursera. So the evidence shows that Coursera is the world's largest and most impactful higher education cloud learning solution. So for Prowess to be a Coursera partner for Africa means that we are already in a gold mine, and we just need to leverage the opportunity we have to transform our institutions and transform higher education in Africa. Here is how our business model looks like. So Prowess gets into partnerships with you, the private higher education institutions, private universities, in the form of a memorandum of understanding. And in that agreement, we select one or two or three top selling programs that we are going to design and host online. So moving some of your existing courses to the online space that we can now sell to off-campus students. Students who enroll on Prowess automatically matriculate into the institution hosting the program that they have applied for. They take their theoretical component of their program online by studying on Prowess using the curriculum that we've designed. And these courses are taught directly by the teaching partners that we've mentioned. So if a student is taking an HND to bachelor's degree conversion in marketing, for example, and that student's transcript is supposed to reflect maybe the completion of 12 courses, then this student is going to take 12 courses on Prowess, and these 12 courses will be taught by various institutions like Stanford, Yale, Toronto, Cape Town, Johns Hopkins, and so on. The student, when they complete each course, they obtain a certificate from the university teaching that course. And while they are studying online, what are they doing with the rest of their time? They are working full-time, either on internship or on their full-time jobs or private businesses. So this is a complete disruption of professional higher education, because unlike the situation where students spend more than 90% of their time in the classroom and then go and pretend on so-called internships and graduate without skills, Prowess gives them the opportunity to gather professional skills full-time and then leverage the power of technology to acquire their theoretical content online, and not from a single institution, but from a collection of universities around the world. So even the prestige factor is unmatched. Now, when they finish their curriculum, they come to the host institution and take final exams, which now lead them to either the higher national diploma if they came in with the advanced levels, or a bachelor's degree if they came in with the advanced levels, with a bachelor with an HND. Prowess already has a signed contract with Coursera, so we have our own platform on Coursera. If you go to Coursera, you click on their website, you're going to see the generic Coursera site that an independent learner can sign up to, and all the things that we're saying about Coursera, you can see them if you go on Coursera. But if you go to Coursera, through Prowess, it's going to direct you to the Prowess platform. And this is so powerful because it means that Prowess is literally a university in the cloud. That makes us borderless. So the numbers you're seeing in front of you show that within the last 6 months, we've had 1,070 enrollments, 5,297 learning hours, 6,515 lessons taken, and a student rating of 4.6 on 5. Where do these numbers come from? Since we signed our contract with Coursera in September 2020, we have been developing and testing this platform. So these numbers are generated by the artificial intelligence algorithm of Coursera from the students that we've enrolled and taught and certified on our platform already. So the only twist there is that since it was a trial phase, most of these students studied for free. So unlike Coursera, which is a generic database, I mean it's a database of 7,000 courses, Prowess has been structured as a virtual university to mimic the way our universities, our higher education institutions look physically. So our courses are packaged in the form of learning programs, um, departments, faculties, and so on. So what you see in front of you, for example, says Prowess Business School, Prowess ICT Academy. If we go down the list, we will find Prowess School of Health Sciences, Prowess School of Agriculture, Prowess School of Home Economics and Tourism, Prowess School of Education, Prowess School of Engineering, and so on. So the course, we mine courses from the Coursera database and use them to populate these various faculties in a way that reflects the content of the curricula of our partner institutions. Here is an example of a course catalog. So when you click on a program, it gives you an outline of the courses that are contained in that program. So here, for example, are the courses that are contained in the Google IT certification program, which is a certification program on its own, hosted by our Prowess ICT Academy. Our administrative portal has gives us a power to manage programs, so create departments under faculties, manage learners, manage course catalogs, and so on. So here you see we can invite a student, we can enroll a student independently, we can enroll multiple students at the same time, maybe following an admission list that you have submitted. So it's a very dynamic platform. And the good news is it means that when we assign a student number to a student and we use that student's email address as their enrollment link, there is only that student that can have access to their platform. When they even finish, in order to be able to get their certificates, they have to verify their identities. So the system is very sensitive and very protected. When a student clicks on a course, they have the course presentation that basically shows the course introduction, um, who is teaching the course in terms of university or company, and the members of staff. So a typical course like understanding financial markets, down the page you will see the names and qualifications of the professors teaching this course from the University of Geneva. So like I mentioned earlier, by the time a student completes 12 of such courses from 12 different universities, that student must have been taught by maybe 30 different professors, top professors from around the world. A deep dive into the course structure shows us the teaching plan. So courses are arranged in weeks, but a week on Coursera is basically a topic. So you have here you see, for example, week 1, general introduction and key concepts. We courses are packaged in the form of videos, reading materials like lecture notes or reading assignments, quizzes, and laboratory exercises. Um, there are programs that have digital exercises like computer science programs, for example. All of them have laboratory work, and this is the magic of cloud computing. Students are able to do laboratory work using virtual machines in the cloud, so they don't even need a physical computer lab anymore because they can now provision and use virtual computers in the cloud. So it's a complete package: lecture videos, lecture notes, quizzes, assignments, and practical exercises. And also, when a student is registered with a course, that student has access to a forum, the global student forum for that course, meaning that they can chat with other students, they can exchange ideas, and in some courses they even have peer graded assignments. So the teaching innovation here is just unmatched. Here is an example of a class list on Prowess that shows data on students, their email address, excuse me, the date on which they joined the program, their activity status, how many courses they've enrolled in, how many they've completed, and so on. We've blotted out the names and email addresses for the purpose of privacy. Student management is even more granular than you saw previously. So we actually have a student's dashboard in front of us. We can see the student's name, the date on which they joined the program. We have their email address. We can, email them. We can call. We can text. We can track the courses they are taking, the progress per course, and whether that course has been completed or not. So when it comes to student management, Prowess is more robust, more personalized, more data driven than even a physical campus. So here is some examples of the certificates that students get when they complete their program. For each program, there's a certificate. I mean, for each course, there's a certificate. So a student who has 6 courses to complete in order to get his um, diploma in some field, for example, those 6 courses will probably be taught by 6 different universities, meaning that that student has 6 different certificates, maybe from the University of London, University of Maryland, University of Edinburgh, IBM, Google, and so on. And there's something very magical about these certificates since they are generated through encryption technology and artificial intelligence and so on. Students have a smart link that they can just copy and paste on their LinkedIn profile, and that LinkedIn profile automatically populates this certificate. Somebody can click on that link and verify this certificate. And more powerfully is the fact that most of these certificates have hiring partners. So there are partners that already know the skills profile that these certificates represent. So today there's a greater partnership between academic institutions and employers. So employers already know which institution is offering which certificate that corresponds to which skill set. So when a student's profile gets populated by these certificates, that student is automatically matched with potential employers, and that is how they stand out in the crowd. In terms of who we are targeting, we do have a virgin market because our solution is addressing a need that is neglected most of the time. For example, the millions of self-employed youths, the millions of rural youths, the millions of stay-at-home moms who have the advanced levels but they don't have access to higher education. They can now obtain their HNDs or degrees by studying online through Prowess in collaboration with a few hosting institutions that will grant them these awards. Then the university graduates who need to boost their employability, we can put them through 1-year accelerated HND programs. Here is what I mean. If a student has a bachelor's degree in sociology, for example, and that student is jobless because they say they don't have any employable skills, what can we do with this student? We can put the student through a 1-year fast track program in human resource management. Now, suddenly, within a space of 1 year, this student is now an HND holder and a bachelor's degree holder, and they have a profession, so the two qualifications have a synergistic effect. That student is more valuable in the job market than his fellow university graduate without an HND, and is more valuable in the job market than a competitor with only the HND. So that in itself is a niche that we can really make good use of. Finally, we have these working people. They have the money to pay fees, but they cannot leave their jobs to go back to school, because the reason why they need higher qualifications is because they need promotions or increase in salaries or and so on. So they can now sit right there at their job sites, study online, and get these higher qualifications. And we convert, their work experience into academic credit to replace the practical requirements of their courses. In terms of communication strategy, we will work in collaboration with the academic partners, of course. So the academic institutions, as part of their normal recruitment drives, they will also be advertising the programs that they now run online in collaboration with Prowess. Prowess itself has a massive communication network, especially when it comes to social media marketing. So that we'll be able to leverage that to drive traffic to these programs. We will develop and host an online application portal for each institution so that students will be able to apply and get admitted without displacing themselves, no matter where they are. These admission forms we will manage collaboratively by Prowess and the admission office of the partner institution. And we will also, of course, make use of the conventional modes of communication, be them radio, television, posters, flyers, and academy and career fairs, including school tours. Our unique value proposition takes the form of a SWOT analysis, which is pretty straightforward. And I would like us to first look at the weaknesses, because that's usually where the concern is. So when you talk about digital learning in Africa, everybody thinks about, it's not yet a culture in Africa, right? Digital learning is not yet a culture in Africa. And we have concerns about data access or stability of internet connectivity and so on. So as you saw in the introduction, we are in the era of COVID-19, Anglophone crisis in Cameroon, and other social factors that have now turned this digital learning into a necessity. So that weakness has been taken care of. Secondly, the Coursera platform has a mobile app into which students can download their course material and then study offline, meaning that the only time when they absolutely need to be online is when they are submitting assignments or taking quizzes. So what opportunities do this present? Governments and institutions are already clamoring for digital learning solutions, but most of them do not have the resources to be able to develop, learning platforms of the caliber that we have. Like we mentioned earlier, they have some rudimentary forms of e-learning. Almost every institution nowadays has some form of e-learning, but they are very rudimentary. So bringing a world-class platform that institutions can plug into creates a great opportunity for us. Also, in terms of the basic infrastructure that is needed to run a platform like this, you're thinking about smartphones, tablets, and laptops. Again, there's been a high penetration of these devices into Africa, so we're taking advantage of the massive availability of the infrastructure that is already in the hands of the potential learners. We don't need to stress about that. Also, something about data. You just need to spend a couple of minutes on Instagram and Facebook to have an appraisal of how many hours the average African youth spends online per day. So that just clears away that myth of data availability or internet instability. So it's just a question of giving them now something valuable to spend their time on. What are the strengths of our project? By curating courses from a database of 7,000 courses taught by 241 institutions, we are creating the kind of quality of learning, the kind of cross-breeding of learning the kind of diversity and the kind of depth of knowledge that no single institution on earth has a power to produce on its own. So this is what we are giving to our students. Also, the fact that students are being taught directly by professors and professionals from our teaching partners means that our host institutions, the host institutions of the students, no longer need to worry about hiring, adequate number of staff, qualified staff, spending money on staff, and so on, which they don't even have most of the time. So that is a strength on its own. Also, the ability for students to study off campus, come to campus only for exams, or in fact, where we have a critical mass of students, the institution can even organize exams there at a local exam center. This means that we have created a university without walls. What does that mean for an institution? It means infinite scalability. So, for example, you can have a physical campus that has the capacity to host 500 students, but by selecting 1, 2, 3 good programs that we can run online for this institution, through Prowess, that same institution now may have the capacity of hosting 5,000 students. Think of that in terms of revenue and impact. Are there any threats to our project? I would say that we have sufficient time to enjoy monopoly because our pedagogic approach is radically innovative. As you can see, instead of competing with institutions, we are adding value to institutions. So we are not interested in the students that come and sit in the classroom to study. We don't need those ones. We are putting programs online so that those who don't have access to the classroom can also have diplomas and degrees, and that one is a bigger market. So like I just showed you, when it comes to scalability, by giving our institutions the capacity to multiply their enrollments and their revenue by maybe 10 times, we are now creating value instead. So what would have been a threat in terms of competition instead turns out to be a synergistic, a collaborative platform. Also, the technology, the Coursera technology is highly advanced, and we have a contract with Coursera, meaning that the only way to compete with Prowess is for an institution to look for its own Coursera partnership, because there's no way of copying Prowess. Imagine how much technical skill and how much capital is needed to pull that stunt. So it's going to take quite a while before we start seeing some reasonable competition. Our pricing plan basically is a straightforward one. So when we are signing our contracts with you, the academic partners, we are using $365 as a baseline, meaning that each student that enrolls into your program, into our programs, the program that Prowess and you are running in collaboration, then the Prowess annual fee is $365. On the next page, you see how that works for you, the institution. But what does this $365 compete with? If a student were to sign up on Coursera as an independent learner, that student has two options: either to pay on a monthly basis per course, which will range from $39 to $59, meaning that by the time a student completes 12 certificates on Coursera, that student would have spent at least $500, assuming that the student spends 1 month per course. Coursera's nearest competition is edX, and the pricing for edX is almost double that of Coursera. Now, Coursera also has an annual plan. So students who prefer to have an unlimited access, study anything they want, they can pay $399 per year. But the disadvantage here is that there is no institutional affiliation, there is no monitoring, and so at the end of the year, there is no end of program diploma. All that the student has is the course certificates that he has accumulated from the teaching partners. So this plan is ideal for corporate learners, not academic learners. So how do our partners make money? By factoring in our $365 a year, the academic partner now fixes their fees at will to correspond with how much they are charging for their full-time on-campus programs. And using Cameroon as an example, the average fees in a private higher education institution is 500,000 francs. So you see that our $365, which amounts to about 200,000 CFA, is less than 50% of the average fees. Meaning that if the academic partner says they are going to charge 500,000 francs for their online program, then it means that effectively when a student pays fees, 500,000 francs is going, 300,000 francs is going to the academic partner, and 200,000 francs is coming to Prowess. Now, let us remind ourselves that the institution is not spending anything on these students because they are distance students. They come to campus only to write exams. What that means is that if you're making 300,000 francs per student per year, that 300,000 francs boils down to passive income. Now, by the time you have 1,000 distance students, then that brings you to an annual passive revenue of about 300 million. Most private institutions do not make that amount of profit per year. So that already shows you the power that Prowess has in transforming your institutions in terms of revenue. We project to have an enrollment of 1,000 students within 2021-2022 academic year, and our target is 10,000 students by 2025-2026 academic year, so in the next 5 years. And what does this mean in terms of revenue? That in the first year we can already be making like $365,000 per year, and by the time we hit our 10,000 enrollment target, we will be making like $3.6 million per year. So the interest here is you, the academic partners, because if you see the earning potential of Prowess, then it reflects the earning potential of you, the academic partner. And it's so interesting again that Prowess takes care of the licensing fees to Coursera. Prowess takes care of management costs and so on. And you, the academic partner, your only concern is with exams. Godfrey Eso is my name, as you heard at the beginning. I'm the founder and the CEO of Guzang Technologies. And before founding Guzang Technologies, I had been appointed rector of Jomat Polytechnic Batibo back in 2016. So prior to that, I was Dean of the School of Medical and Biomedical Sciences at National Polytechnic University Institute in Bamenda. I have worked with Cameroon Ministry of Public Health as a senior medical laboratory scientist. I have been Deputy Director of the Higher Institute of Applied Medical Sciences in Boye, Cameroon. And in terms of distinctions, what is worthy of note is that I am a a fellow of the Foundation for the Advancement of International Medical Education and Research. It's based in Philadelphia, USA, but I completed my fellowship training in Cape Town, South Africa. In 2017, I was winner of the Projects That Work competition in recognition of my contributions toward higher education innovation in Africa. I am an alumnus of the Hive Global Leaders Program, Harvard Medical School, June 2017 session. And this 2021, I was admitted as a member of the American Association of Higher Education Administrators. I work with a big and very dynamic team, and that team is managed by this senior staff that you see in front of you, very capable, very qualified, and very, very motivated to give us the results that we need, at the level of corporate partnerships, um, student support and learning, administration and finance, and academic partnerships. So if you partner with us as an academic institution, you will probably have your MOU signed by Dr. Abod Walter. So what are the next steps? The most obvious one is that if you an academic institution, you wish to partner with Prowess, then you will let us know. You can call us, you can send us an email. As soon as we hear from you, we are ready to enroll you on our platform so that you can test drive our platform for free. You can have a 1-week free enrollment. We will send you a draft MOU that you can review and amend if there's need for amendments. We will work together to select the top programs that we can host for you on Prowess. We will fix the fees and then we will sign the MOU. Once that is done, we will customize the online application portal and we launch. So that is it. It's been a wonderful time doing this presentation. I am sure you can feel the energy that I'm radiating because the vision, for higher education in Africa, it shows us what we see is that Prowess is the future, and by partnering with us, you're being part of that change. And as I keep pointing out, the change is going to affect not only your impact. Education is, first of all, a social venture, so you're in education for impact. You're going to radically transform your impact, and you're going to radically transform your institution in terms of branding, in terms of recognition, and in terms of revenue. So thank you so much for this time that you've spent watching and listening to me. So I look forward to hear from you. And of course, you are going to have lots of questions that we need to answer. We are on standby, for even video conferencing, phone calls, whatever works for you, emailing. And we look forward to getting this partnership signed so that we can start now. We need to start now so that we are ready for the academic year that is coming in October. So thank you very much and God bless you.